Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, starting on this 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, because as you can see right now, we are getting rejected perfectly from this big level of resistance that I have been talking about for the past couple of days or so, as well as a rejection from this descending trend line that I've been showing here every single day. However, as I said yesterday, if we lose that 59.5K level, which is right up here, then very likely we would be touching into this next level below that, sitting from 58,000 all the way down to 56,000 US dollars, which has now played out perfectly. And at this point, you may be wondering why this level here is marked in white and not in the typical blue support color. Well, this is because after we broke out above it, above this 58K level the first time, we haven't come back down to actually retest it as a level of support. So therefore, we should not assume that it is a level of support yet, because just as easily we can fall right through this. And especially if we lose 56,000 US dollars, then very likely we would be heading much lower for the Bitcoin price once again. And as I showed you a couple times previously here already on the channel, but just in case you missed it, recently we saw something similar right here where we broke out above. At the time, I had this marked in white, and I was saying we haven't retested as a level of support, so we cannot assume that it is a level of support. And then when we came back down here, we fell straight through this level at that time. So that was a good warning signal. And right here, we have the exact same situation. So be on the lookout for a potential bounce to the upside, but do not assume that this is actually a level of support, is the main thing that I'm trying to get across here. Either way, let's now take a look at the Fibonacci levels for Bitcoin. First of all, we lost this 0.5 level sitting at 59.5K. And as I warned about in yesterday's video, if we lose this level on the lower time frames, then likely we would be heading much lower. For example, down to this 0.382 Fibonacci level sitting at 57,000 US dollars. Now there is a little bit of short-term support right here because we have seen some price action right around this level, but I do think it is more likely that we end up coming down to this 57K level at some point. So the key level to watch next is basically this orange line, so this 57K level, as well as these previous lows here on the 4-hour time frame, because I do think this could also act as a short-term level of support. If we actually really lose this level though, it is going to be much more bearish for Bitcoin. For example, we have some Fibonacci support right here at about 53.9K for the Bitcoin price. And at that point, we would be very close to filling this CME gap right here, which is still sitting at 53K. But one thing that is good to talk about is the RSI for Bitcoin, because this has already reset from this overbought zone that we were in recently and is now crossing down quite deep below that 50 level. So what this tells me is that currently we are at the 40 level and we aren't in oversold territory on this 4-hour time frame until we are below the 30 level on the RSI. So this shows me that there is still quite a bit of room to the downside on that 4-hour time frame. Though at the same time, if we now actually zoom into the 1-hour time frame, this is showing a bit of a different picture, because not only has it already reached deep into oversold territory right here, going as low as about 17. As I'm recording this video right now, we are also basically in oversold territory. So on the 1-hour time frame, you might need to see this cool off a little bit. So on the 1-hour time frame, I think it is quite likely that we are going to see the RSI kind of cool off. Usually what you will see in the RSI, similar to, for example, what you saw up here, is that when you reach those overbought or oversold conditions, usually you will see the RSI reset back down to around that 50 level. And so my base expectation is that this is going to be roughly the same here later today, although we could first see another move to the downside, for example, to this next level of support here that I mentioned earlier in the video. But trading is all about probabilities, right? So yes, it is definitely possible that we still go lower from here, but the probability of breaking this level of support while already being in oversold territory becomes quite low. Now let's get back to the shorter term here. So let's talk about this Bitcoin liquidation heat map on the 1-week time frame. On this recent move to the downside here yesterday, we already took out close to $500 million worth of Bitcoin long positions. And now on this next small move to the downside, we are close to grabbing all of this liquidity here at 57.3K. So I do think it is quite likely we are coming to actually grab this liquidity at 57.3K at some point, considering that it is very close to the actual price where we are right now. Do keep in mind that we are in oversold territory on the 1 hour time frame, and therefore it can take a little bit more time to actually play out and grab that liquidity to the downside. Either way, that would be another $800 million worth of long positions that get liquidated. And we have even more liquidity, $700 million, sitting at 55.4K. So again, if we lose that 57K level that I was talking about earlier in the video as a level of short-term support, in that case, I think this 55.4K is very likely to actually happen. So this is kind of what I'm talking about. If we lose 57K here, then I think it is very likely that we are grabbing this liquidity at about 55.4K. Even if it is just a wick down here to grab the liquidity and then bouncing up from there. And we will see what happens after that, whether it is another move to the upside or losing this level of support here. But that is besides the point. If we lose 57K, then 55.4K is very likely at that point. But that is, of course, not financial advice. I'm simply telling you what I see in the charts, and you can do with that information what you like. Either way, this has been today's market update. Don't forget to come check out the Road to 1 Million Discord community, because this is a very active community of people that are trading crypto every single day. So if that is something you're interested in, it is completely free. You can find the link to this in the video description. Regardless, whether you do end up joining or not, thank you for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.